Let's talk all about NCA. When we say NCA, for a lot of you, that could mean different things, but usually when people say NCA, they are talking about NCA Super Nationals in Dallas, Texas, usually the end of February, first weekend of March. It is one of the biggest cheer competitions in the world. It surpasses the summit. It surpasses worlds in terms of attendance, in some cases hype. And I've been getting a lot of questions about different parts of NCA. So I thought I would take a minute or two or three or 20 and talk about the different aspects of NCA weekend, what to expect, what's worth it, what's not worth it in my experience, what it's all about. So here we go.
All the moms in the world, let's chat it up. We're talking competitions, uniforms, and all of the above. It's the Cheer Mom, yes, the Cheer Mom podcast. Cheer Mom, yes, the Cheer Mom podcast. Cheer Moms, your podcast is on.
Okay, for a really quick crash course on NCA, there's an episode coming out in a few weeks about confusing things about cheer, and I don't think I talked about this in that episode, so this will be like a prequel bonus, if you will. NCA stands for the National Cheerleaders Association. That doesn't really mean anything now. I don't know if it meant something back in the day, but NCA is a brand within varsity. It used to be its own brand, but varsity has, throughout the years, they have purchased dozens of different brands. So varsity owns NCA, UCA, JamFest, Spirit Sports, Aloha, and so on. So a lot of these competitions used to be owned by independent owners, independent businesses, and varsity has purchased those. So while they're all under the varsity USASF umbrella, I think all of them are under the USASF umbrella, they are different in their own respect. They are themed differently. They all kind of have their go-to locations and tours. They just are owned by the parent company, Varsity. NCA was actually the very first cheer brand as we know it. And it was founded by Lawrence Herkimer back in like the 70s. He had a protege named Jeff Webb. And for whatever the circumstances are, I hope that somebody writes a book about it one day. Jeff Webb split from Mr. Herkimer from NCA and started UCA, the United Cheerleaders Association. And then eventually Jeff Webb started Varsity and then went and bought NCA. And so now NCA and UCA are both Varsity, but they're different brands. So that's how that works. NCA has different events throughout the country. So that's what I mean by some of you, it might mean something different because you might have competed at NCA Roseville or NCA Chattanooga or NCA Terre Haute. I don't know. But they have these satellite events that are smaller events throughout the country, but they all converge to the Super Nationals event. What makes it a Super Nationals event? I don't know other than previous attendance and registrations. Like, I don't know how they decided that this is going to be the big one. This is going to be the main event. But regardless, it is called the Super Nationals. And that is their biggest event that they, I think, put a lot more resources into. There's definitely a lot more hype and clout and status around these Super Nationals events. I'm sure by now you've caught on to the fact that every competition is called a nationals. Everything is nationals. And so they have to differentiate by calling it Super Nationals And that's how you know, like, it's a big event from the title and the business side of it. From the spectator and athlete side, there are just certain events that carry more weight, that carry more, like I said, status around. NCA is one of those. In fact, I think in terms of if you're not looking at Summit where senior level 6 and up, the world's athletes are not competing at Summit and the Summit's athletes are not competing at the cheerleading worlds. NCA and cheer sport comes in a close second. Those are the two most, and I would say NCA is the most prestigious across the board cheer event where all levels are competing. In other words, if you are an athlete and you have an Instagram bio and you won NCA, that's going to be in the Instagram bio. Like, these athletes have world champion, majors champion, summit champion, NCA champion is included in that resume if you've won. There is, even when I see an NCA jacket hanging on someone's wall, I'm like, oh, you're part of an NCA championship team. It catches people's attention. There are jackets associated. If you win a ring and a jacket. Well, I should say you win a jacket and then the right to purchase the ring that is not cheap. But I digress. If you win NCA, you want to buy the ring. And that goes for a level 1 athlete all the way up to your favorite world's athletes. In fact, at these big events, really at any cheer event, but especially at NCA, athletes that have won previously, you will know them when you see them because they will be wearing their national championship jacket. They will be carrying, if not wearing, their ring around. You know who the champions are. It is a big deal. And until recently, NCA was the most attended cheer event in the world. Cheer sport was a close second until the All-Star World Championship knocked them off of that first place podium with, I think, 200 more teams in registrations at the last All-Star Worlds. Don't quote me on that, but they beat out NCA as the biggest cheer event in the world. So I've talked about this before, but briefly, the setup of this event, it takes place in Dallas at the K. Bailey Hutchison Convention Center. Now, that is likely to change because of remodeling and things that are happening with that convention center. NCA has been the same weekend every year for years and years and years and years at the same place. And it looks like that might change. So stay tuned for updates on that. I know that I'm keeping up with that story. But the general setup is cheerleading literally takes over all of downtown Dallas, every inch of the convention center. There are 80 to 100,000 athletes and spectators in attendance. It's so big that if you're flying into Dallas, I actually flew into Dallas last year after dark. As we were flying over downtown Dallas, they have a huge LED sign that you can see from the air. They put the NCA logo and pictures of cheerleaders on it. We take over downtown. We fill every hotel. It's insane. So as you can imagine, there's a lot that's going on surrounding that event. So the general setup of the event is they have halls A through D or E that are however many that is, A, B, C, five to six stages with routines happening all the time from like 7 a.m. to 9 or 10 p.m. That's how many teams are competing. Then you walk down the hall, make sure you have food and comfortable shoes for the journey, where there is an arena where nonstop, all day Saturday and all day Sunday, there are only world's teams competing in that venue. And that's what's unique about the Dallas Convention Center is there aren't very many, if any, I think there are a couple in the US, convention centers that have that arena style setup that will fit the structure of what NCA has. The arena is a huge deal. People sit in there for hours and hours. I've been one of them to watch world's teams compete. More on that later. So let's just start with the basics. Should you rent a car if you're coming in from out of town? That's going to be up to you and what your plans are. But in my experience, I would say no, because the traffic to get into the convention center is insane. It is usually a half a mile long. It takes forever to get in. You have to pay for parking. There's rarely a lot of parking in downtown. Sometimes you have to pay for parking at your hotel. I think it's better to just Uber or walk. That is my preference. It is a pain to get around downtown during a normal day, let alone NCA when all of these people are there. Hotels are going to be expensive. We're not going to talk about stay to play here today, but hotels during these events tend to be way more for various reasons. I actually, last year, because I didn't have an athlete competing, but I was going to be at the event, I was able to book wherever I wanted. And not only were most hotels sold out, their prices were 2 and 3 times higher than weekends surrounding that weekend. So it is expensive to stay there. Downtown Dallas is, in my opinion, not that fun. There's not a lot to do. I was gravely disappointed with the options that were available. Downtown Dallas is just like not it. But anyway, so you get there usually the Thursday night or the Friday morning before NCA, depending on your gym size, the amount of practices they're going to put in, the activities that they have planned, etc. Again, remember, this is a big event. Depending on your gym, they might treat this as an opportunity to do a gym-wide or a team-wide team bonding. There might be a lot of activities associated with this event, so they may want you to be there earlier or be involved more in the days leading up to this event. Some gyms will do like an NCA showcase or NCA send-off. It's a big deal. So you get there, you may be able to practice at a local gym. I know gyms like Cheer Athletics is based just outside of Dallas, and I think that they offer gyms the opportunity to practice at their gym for a small rental fee. So you can sign up for your athletes to practice at their gym a couple of days before NCA. I think that's a really cool opportunity. I think that the kids have a good time in a different gym, knowing that they're practicing in the same place as some of their favorite athletes or this famous gym. So that's in and of itself a cool experience. If you have the opportunity to have a team bonding or team dinner the night before you start competing, I also recommend doing that. Now, there are lots of different ideas that you can do. I would really make this one special. Most of the hotels in the area have been doing this for years and years and years, and they know when NCA is coming. They know what to expect. And I think it's a really nice touch that a lot of these hotels will do balloon arches or add something special and say, welcome NCA athletes. They've created photo ops. So even just like hanging out in the lobby of your hotel and doing some fun selfies or something could be a good team bonding activity. Scavenger hunts around the hotel can be fun. But there are a couple of places in Dallas that I think are great places to have a team bonding event. My first choice, both are a little pricey. My first choice, though, is XOXO, which I think is like a 5 or 10-minute drive from the convention center. It is this huge restaurant venue with all these different rooms. You can also do a private room, have your own menu for your team. There's also a private bar for the moms who want to have a little fun. But XOXO is decked out, the most Instagram-worthy restaurant I think I have ever seen. It has pink walls, it has flower walls, it has little neon signs everywhere. It has like a swing, like a hammock swing, and all of these adorable places to take pictures. One team that I saw, the girls all got dressed up in pink and they were having a blast just running around the restaurant, taking pictures together. There's fountains and a garden area. Everyone is doing this. Everyone's taking pictures. It is the most Instagrammable place I have seen. And then everybody had fun at their team dinner. So grab your reservation for XOXO if you can for a team lunch or team dinner. It's a really good excuse for everybody to get dressed up and have a lot of fun. There is also a sugar factory in Dallas. Now, there are sugar factory locations all over the country. The one that I've been to is the one in Seattle. But we did a team dinner at the sugar factory, and it is also a very Instagrammable restaurant and also pretty pricey. But it was so fun, and they have these over-the-top desserts that everybody could pitch in, and I mean, you could feed like a small army with these desserts, but they have like fireworks coming off of the desserts, and they have all of this production at this restaurant. So that's another good one. If you want to do a really nice team bonding, that's a good one to do. If you're wanting to stay more low key, have that quiet moment away from the competition or before the competition starts, it's fairly cheap and very easy to get around the Metroplex, especially on the weekend. We actually drove 20 minutes up the road to Plano. There is a really good Mexican restaurant up there that we like to eat at. So if you're looking to kind of get away from the madness, I recommend just zipping up the highway to Plano or Allen. You'll be enough away from the crowds that you'll be able to like get a table if it's just your family and have a more quiet, less cheer related meal, which I think we can all agree sometimes we need, especially in the middle of the weekend. I also want to mention that at any of these big competitions, door dashing can be a real issue. Everyone else seems to have gotten the memo except for the door dashers. And so if you think, oh, we're not going to wait 30 minutes for a table at this restaurant, we're just going to door dash, look into that before you make that decision, because in my experience, DoorDash can sometimes take longer than just waiting for a table to become available nearby. So just a word of caution about DoorDash. So you get to Friday of NCA, and that's really when the competition starts. Usually prep and novice teams, and sometimes level 1 mini teams, level 1 junior teams are competing also on Friday night. So everything kind of kicks off on Friday with competition. If you go down to the arena, in the past, they have done various presentations on Friday night. It's been a free event in the arena. It's where they kind of talk about varsity's mission, USASF's mission. They recognize standout athletes. I've seen them give out scholarships during this event. It's kind of the kickoff event to NCA weekend. My man, Justin Carrier, who is vice president at varsity and head of, I think he's like the head of all of NCA, but he is there. He is the host and MC for the whole weekend. He's there making presentations. Last year, it was kind of cool. They actually invited all of the spectators who were at the presentation on Friday night to come down to the main mat in the arena and take pictures for a few minutes if they wanted to. And that was a cool experience to be down there on the floor. This year, they're going to be doing a battle in the arena in addition to those presentations on Friday night. It's not exactly clear what that's going to look like, but they have said that there will be some world's teams exhibitioning their routine Friday night before. This is similar to what they have done at Cheersport with the Friday Night Live event where teams are exhibitioning and you get to see some of your favorite world's teams up close and personal. Usually it's a free event and they do a big donation drive for St. Jude. So they like pass a bucket or invite people to donate, and it's a big fundraiser. It's a good kickoff to a big competition weekend. I'm not sure what that's going to look like or who's going to be performing. I would say if they are charging ticket prices to go to this event, pay close attention to who is going to be performing at it to decide if it's going to be worth it for you to attend. I don't know that I personally would pay for something like that unless I was going to be guaranteed a close up seat to watch TGLC or Senior Elite or a team that I was really invested in, like Lady Lightning, even my girls, the Kitty Cats. But they're not a world's team, so they probably won't get to perform, although they should be given the invitation. I digress. I'm getting off topic, but you guys, I love kitty cats. And hey, listen, kitty cats are the winningest NCA team in NCA history. Can we just take a moment and recognize that? I gotta shout out my teammates on kitty cats. I'm a kitty cat now. Did you see? Okay. So Friday night is that kickoff. I don't know. I could take or leave any Friday night activity unless it's going to be something that I wouldn't be able to get any other day, only because you really want to preserve your energy for what's about to happen. It's a lot. So February, March in Texas is very unpredictable, just like any other place in the country. You don't know if you're going to get freezing rain or 75 degrees. So you need to be prepared accordingly. Bring your ponchos, your shower caps for the hair, bring a coat, bring flip-flops. You may need both in the same weekend. Above all else, bring comfortable shoes, you guys. There's so much walking in one venue. It's insane. So at NCA, you really want to make sure this is something that you might want to do on Friday also. The very opposite end of the venue from the arena are what we affectionately refer to as the NCA Stairs. And you'll see and hear people talking about, I want to take a picture on the stairs. They put this vinyl decal all up this huge staircase. I believe it's by Hall D or E. It's at the very end. Like if you walk into the venue from the street, turn right and keep walking until you can't walk anymore. And those are the NCA stairs. And it's really cool. It's lots of steps. They have put the logo and they've put this vinyl decal on there. And athletes and teams have the opportunity to take photos. So that's something that you want to do early. If you're allowed into the venue on Friday, early, and you really want a picture on the stairs, that's the time to do it. The lines for the stairs can be very, very long as the weekend goes on. I've never actually put myself in a position to wait in line for the stairs, but it is a cool picture. So if you want to do that, and I would suggest getting a team or a stunt group together to do that because it looks really cool with a group and there's lots of really neat formations you can do. I'll try to link to the blog post about NCA and other national competitions. I have a couple of examples of athletes on the stairs, and that's a really cool, like, memorable experience that you can do. So you want to do that Friday. But wear comfortable shoes. It's literally so much walking. It's not even funny. If your athlete has any interest in watching Worlds teams, you are going to put in your steps that weekend. Now, as you're in the venue, there is a lot to do at NCA in terms of they have interactive vendors. There's usually, like last year, there was a Build-A-Bear, and they have this activity room that's kind of tucked away. There are a couple of varsity shops to shop at. I would also recommend shopping those early because they run out of things really super fast. I think we went on Friday at like 4 or 5 o'clock, and there really wasn't that big of a line, and they had plenty of stuff. But by 10 o'clock on Saturday morning, there was a line halfway down the venue, and they were already sold out of a ton. So if you want to get your event t-shirt or something special that's specific to NCA, do that early. So then you're going to enter the competition venue. Those hallways are incredibly crowded. This is the hallway where, in a recent episode where I talk about pet peeves and people stopping in the middle of the hallway or aimlessly wandering or turning around, this is the hallway where that is so magnified. You have to walk with purpose at NCA. You have to. There are hundreds of people in this hallway all trying to get literally to the same place. You have got to walk with purpose. If you need to stop, treat it like a roadway. Use a hand signal. Pull off to the side really quickly to find something in your backpack or find your child. Oh my gosh. So you're getting into the performance halls. For levels 1 through 5 and J6, your performance halls are all connected. I did not look this up before I hit record, but you guys who know, I know you know, but you can walk from Hall A to whatever the last performance hall is in one sweep. You don't have to go in and out to do that. They're all connected. The stages are divided by air walls, and there are also vendors, usually like Fabletics and things, in the performance hall area, as well as food. And I have to hand it to NCA and the K. Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center for having some really good food options the last couple of years. They've had some healthy options. They've had some really good quesadillas and salads, and they have the regular, pizza and hot dogs, but there is an elevated food scene, I have to say, at NCA. And I would say, I've been to a lot of competitions. I would say that NCA probably has the best food scene in any competition that I've been to. I'm going to throw that down. I'm going to throw that down. Maybe that's going to be a challenge to you other events, but I'm just going to say it. They had a really good lemonade stand at NCA last year. It was like lemonade and iced tea, and it was almost like a food truck. It was like a trailer. They were selling souvenir cups that you could come and refill at a discount all weekend. So that was a really good deal. I was very impressed with that. Last year, they also had a VIP package that you could buy from Varsity that would get you, they were promoting it as elevated food, a comfort area with recliners, priority something or other. If they do that again, guys, I really don't think that that's worth it. It was something like $75 or $100 a person. They did not get, I would pay that if I were guaranteed a reserved seat in the arena. No question, I would pay that. I'm not kidding. Watching teams in the arena is so super cool. I would pay for that. If there was a catered food option or a free drink, free soft drink option, I would also consider that. But what they were selling, what they were including in that last year, I didn't think it was worth it by reading it. And then the comments in the Facebook groups that weekend, they said, no, we're still waiting for our food. It's the same food that I could have waited an extra 30 seconds in line for. It was not worth the extra money. So those add-ons that they try to offer at some of these events, really look at comparison value, and feel free to email or DM me and I'll tell you if it's worth it or not. Other things happening at and around NCA are the pop-up shops. Take a break from the venue, walk just a block or two down the street, and Rebel has a carnival pop-up. Rebel goes all out. They have this whole parking lot that they use, And they literally put up, it's like a fair style event where they have tents with rebel uniforms. They had a DJ. They do runway fashion shows, not only with their talent, but with girls that show up that want to be part of a fashion show. You can volunteer to do that. It is so cute and so special. All these littles got to dress up in Rebel Couture and walk the runway. It was one of the cutest things I've ever seen. I actually got a little misty watching it, and their parents and grandparents taking pictures of them and the confidence that they exuded by doing that. So cool. But they have interactive things. I think last year there was a 360 camera that you could be part of. They had cheer celebrity meet and greets with Gabby Butler and Maddie Brum and Samantha Ryan. On top of that, some of those athletes did stunting demonstrations. You could maybe stunt with Gabby Butler or one of the guys. Rebel has a shop there. They have a lot going on. So I would recommend, if it's not so freezing cold, and actually they have heated that area before also, take a break from the competition venue. Go check out some of these pop-up shops. It's a good break from the chaos, from the overstimulation, and your athlete will have a good time. Infinity also does a pop-up shop. If you need some new shoes, you want to try on some new shoes, stop at Rebel, stop at Infinity. There are other brands that will do things throughout downtown. So if you have a favorite brand, I would definitely look them up on Instagram a couple of weeks before NCA and see if they'll be there and what they'll be doing, because it's not just limited with this event to the competition venue. Like I said, we take over downtown Dallas, so there's a lot to do outside of the venue. A lot of those office buildings are empty during the weekend, but they keep their food courts open. So there might be a Starbucks that you don't have to wait a long time in line for. Maybe, no promises, I said maybe. But there's a lot to do around town. Okay, so you've gotten the lay of the land. I highly suggest getting there early, touring the venue. You've got your comfortable shoes on. You've visited the pop-up shops. You've gotten your souvenir cup. You've gotten something good to eat. And your athlete is performing. I would, parents, really take a deep breath and be tuned in to their stressors on NCA weekend. This is a big, high pressure competition. It will be one of the biggest stages that your athlete will perform on. It will be one of the biggest stages that their coaches are coaching on. I think nerves can get the better of even the best coaches, despite their efforts to treat it like any other day. There are nerves. And then combined with that, you're walking into this huge venue. The warm-up area is sort of far away from some of the performance areas. It's a different feel, and hopefully your coaches have the opportunity. Some events allow them to do this. Some coaches do this and some don't. But I think especially with like the youth athletes, if there's an opportunity, and parents, you don't really have control over this, but I'm just saying it for the sake of saying it. If there's an opportunity for them to see where where the warm-up area is, do that walkthrough, I think that will help with their nerves. So don't get annoyed if your coaches are like, you need to be here at 5 o'clock to do a walkthrough or whatever it is. I think that that's so helpful because it is a massive, overwhelming, high production, exciting venue and event. So I think that there will be added stressors and nerves, and your kid might be acting a little bit differently, and just know that that could be why. I think having all of that in mind, if your team, your athlete's team, hit 0 at NCA, that is a huge deal. Celebrate that. treat that as a win. I'm serious. Get excited about that. Hitting at NCA is an enormous accomplishment given the size of the event, given that it's so competitive, given that it's overwhelming. Executing a flawless routine at that event should be so super celebrated. I remember the first time that my daughter hit a routine at NCA was in the World's Arena. Everyone was crying. The coaches were sobbing. It is one of her core cheer memories. That day that we hit at NCA goes down in our cheer scrapbook. It's an enormously overwhelming and emotional feeling, especially if you're a World's team, but I think for any team. Okay, let's move on to some of the other activities that happen throughout the course of NCA. Pinning. If you don't know what pinning is, it is a fun, I think unique to the cheer world, way for athletes to wish each other luck, offer sportsmanship, and to have fun in the process. Athletes and parents, myself included, have a fun time in the weeks leading up to NCA decorating wooden clothespins, and people have gotten really creative with it. You can either order colored clothespins or paint them yourself. People put glitter and glue beads and bedazzle them. They write messages like good luck and hit 0. People have gotten all kinds of creative with their pins. They sometimes will attach a little card with a message to them, and then they secretly pin them to other athletes' backpacks and bags and hair and bows and everywhere. It's a fun way to wish each other luck. It's fun for the pinner because you're like being sneaky and trying not to get caught, and it's a fun little like secret thing. And then the pinnee, the person who got the pin, it's so fun. I remember the first pin that I got as an adult. I took my backpack off, put it down, and I was like, "Oh, someone pinned me. Oh my gosh. Blah, blah, blah. All-Star Elite pinned me and said that I'm great." I loved it. So pinning is huge at NCA. If you only pin for one competition, NCA is the one to do that. And people have gotten way creative and over the top with the pinning thing. Now, ducks on the pins are a big thing. There's a good luck duck that you can pin on the pin. Some people have life-size pins I've seen that are like 2 feet long. They have big rubber ducks that they hide. It's like, you've found a secret duck. If you find this duck, do this with it or whatever. People have a lot of fun with those things in the hallways and around the venue at NCA. Again, if you are saving all of that work and effort for one event, I think NCA would be the one. And now we get to the arena. You've heard me reference it several times. Oh, the arena, how I love and hate thee. People will plan their entire NCA Dallas weekend around who's performing in the arena and when. And when I say people, I mean me. I am people. I got this from my daughter. I give her all credit for getting me into this. But again, it's all World's teams. So you're going to get great cheerleading in the arena, in that venue. But there are some specific divisions and specific teams that are being more hyped than other divisions. So, of course, the large co-ed division is big. That includes TGLC, includes Cheetahs. The large all-girl division is where you have Panthers and Stingray All-Star Orange and CEA Senior Elite. You have the medium co-ed division, which people are saying is going to just be a bloodbath this year because there's so many of them and so many good teams in that division. If I start naming them, I'm going to leave one out and people are going to get mad. But you guys know the co-ed medium division is huge and highly, highly, highly competitive. So all that said, thousands and thousands of people want to watch these teams, and for good reason. Let me tell you about my first experience even hearing about what the arena at NCA was. I wasn't even at NCA. My daughter was watching a video of the arena at NCA. It was Senior Elite's routine. She said, "Here, come look at this. This is Senior Elite, the team that I've been telling you about, that famous team from YouTube." I had never seen anything like it. I got emotional when she showed me this video because it was this fully packed arena watching this team and singing their music at the top of their lungs with the routine. You guys know which one I'm talking about. I'm not going to sing it again for you. You'll have to go back to the episode where I sang it again. I reserve my performances for more relevant times. But all of these kids pack this arena to watch their favorite teams. Do you guys remember the viral video of the cheer team whose music cut out and the whole arena was counting 1, 3, 5, 7? That was Panthers, and that was the NCA Arena. That showed up on the Today Show. It showed up in so many places. That's the NCA Arena. It is electric. The energy in there is just insane. If you have the opportunity to be in there and be part of it and be with your child while they watch their favorite teams, while they watch athletes that they admire, that is not an opportunity to be missed. That is one of my core memories as a cheer mom, is having that experience with my daughter. And we even somehow roped dad into doing it one year. We sat in the arena for, I think, 8 hours plus straight. Because let me tell you, there are limited seats in that arena. Everyone wants a seat. Everyone wants a good seat. And they do not allow you to save seats, especially as it's leading up to those popular divisions that I talked about. People will wait hours to watch 5 minutes of cheerleading. So if you want to watch those teams that are popular, you're going to have to get there early. They are sticklers about, if you leave, you have given up your seat. We couldn't even go to the bathroom. Like my husband, we went one at a time to go to the bathroom, and my husband was fighting to keep our seats. It's cutthroat in there around those popular teams. It gets so crowded in there that for several years in a row, my guy, Justin Carrier, has gotten on the microphone and said, "We are stopping competition until everyone is in a seat. The fire marshal is here, and this is now a fire hazard. They will shut the whole competition down if people don't stop blocking the doorways, don't stop blocking the aisleways, and are not in a seat. They will literally send staff up to the aisles and the steps where athletes are sitting and politely kick them out of the arena because it is a safety issue." I have seen him do it. And that's when I first, will say, fell in love with Justin Carrier. I was like, this guy is the boss. This guy is in charge. He was literally, I can't remember what he said. He said something like, "You are hurting your favorite athletes right now because they're getting cold." He didn't say it like that, but was pretty much like, cheetahs are suffering right now because they finished warm-ups, they're waiting to take the mat, and you guys can't find a seat. The way he said it, like, earned him so much respect from me that I was like, I like this guy. Like, I want to be on that guy's team. Shout out to Justin. He's like the nicest guy too. I've met him a few times and we've exchanged messages and Instagram, and I love him. So the arena is cutthroat, but it's worth it if you're willing to put in the time sitting in those god-awful, uncomfortable seats. Like, if you have the space in your luggage and the foresight to plan for this, bring like a pillow or something to sit on. Those seats legit made my butt fall asleep for sitting in them for so long. But it was worth it. It was worth it to share that experience with my daughter. It was worth it to see all of these younger athletes and the admiration that they have for these world athletes. It was worth it to see fellow world athletes and the respect that they had for their competitors, for their fellow athletes. There's nothing like it. Not at Summit, not at World, not at any other cheer event that I have been to. There is nothing like sitting in that NCA arena and watching those teams and watching the athletes who admire them. Okay, to recap, top tips for NCA: wear comfortable shoes, stay hydrated, pack your patience, walk with purpose, and take it all in, you guys. This is not the weekend to treat like just any other cheer competition. If you go into it with the purpose of taking it in and making an experience, it might be an experience that you will never forget or that your athlete will never forget. Try to do everything that you can. I enjoyed it. I think you will enjoy it. All of your favorite athletes and coaches are in Dallas at that time. Your athlete might get to meet their cheer hero. Those kids are so sweet about stopping and taking pictures. Visit the pop-up shops. Give your athlete and yourself that whole experience. You never know who you might meet or the memories that you might make in the meantime. Your cheer hangover will be the cheer hangover of all cheer hangovers at NCA. Because of the time of year, too, there is always some kind of respiratory something that goes around after NCA. So take that emergency, take that vitamin C, maybe take a couple of extra days off work after if you can to recover. It took me like a full month to recover from NCA the last 2 years that I've gone, but I would go again over and over. I hope to see you around Dallas at NCA. I will be around. I'll be doing some photo shoots. I will have the Cheer Collection pop-up shop just up the road in Frisco. If you want to make the 20-minute drive up there, come shop the pop-up shop. It is going to be a great weekend. Share this with a friend who's going to NCA. Best of luck to all of the athletes, teams, coaches that are competing. Be safe. Have fun.